Thanks for joining us, everyone. Today, we're going to have a webinar on gamification and achievements. This webinar is brought to you by LearnDash, and we cover topics that are brought up from our Facebook group. Feel free to get involved in our Facebook group, request topics, and get involved in the community. I'm your host today, James Tryon. I'm the training specialist at LearnDash. I've been using WordPress since 2007. I've been using LearnDash since 2013. I have a couple fantastic kids. You can find me in the Facebook group or on Twitter at James Tryon. Today, we're going to be covering what is gamification, some benefits of gamification, how you can leverage gamification in your LearnDash courses, implementing gamification into your LearnDash website. We'll actually do a demo on setting up the new achievements add-on, adding achievements, and extending the user profiles with some new blocks and shortcodes. Feel free to ask any questions as we go through the presentation. I am running the presentation by myself, though, so if I don't see your question, or I'll do my best, or I'll try to answer them in a follow-up post inside the Facebook group. So let's talk about gamification. What is gamification? The gamification is the use of gaming elements in any context that is in a non-gaming related, usually by providing rewards and fostering user interactions with the learning material. So I was talking to some common types of rewards would be points, badges, levels, leadership boards, and challenges. Some benefits of using gamification. You're going to keep your learners around and engaged longer, and it's going to keep them coming back. I know that sometimes it's the reward you get at the end, and then sometimes it's the challenge of actually achieving the achievement. So it's the journey, not the reward. And sometimes the reward is also the achievement. So you would want to think about the different types of users you might have, learners or students you might have when you're implementing the different types of gamification, making sure that they're achievable, but they also make sense and they all add value and encourage actual growth versus just waiting to click something or coming back to cheat the system. But it's fun to think about the different aspects, and we'll cover more of that a little bit later. Just something like this little simple GIF kind of makes you smile. The endorphins it releases. Like if you were to go through a course and you hit the complete lesson and you showed a user a GIF that's like, you crushed it, good job, you nailed it. Like that little bits of encouragement is really going to keep them coming back. It's going to make them feel good. It's going to that triggering an emotion is also been stated to lock in what you've learned. So a lot of times like parody songs will work, or you're going to remember more emotional things that happen in past experiences because it sort of locks in those other things around it. So if you use a little bit of joy to tie into your learning, it's also triggering those dopamine sensors in your brain. It's going to help the learner remember those things that they've been studying, and also make them smile. So some benefits of gamification. I pulled these stats for some of the older blogs on our blog posts. There's going to be a reference at the end for links. I would recommend checking out the LearnDash blog. It's a great resource. So just by adding gamification to your site, you can increase the engagement and increase the time spent on your site by 30%. And companies that use gamification do increase revenue. On average, see an increase in revenue by 2 to 4% in the first month of using gamification. Why use gamification? You can provide instant feedback, prompt change in behavior, positive return on investment. You're also increase the learning experience itself. One of them is you could actually trigger an achievement when you fail a quiz or don't pass a quiz. So not only could you use achievements for encouragement and congratulating somebody, you could also use it to help guide or maybe provide a little bit of positive feedback to encourage the user to try again or approach it a little bit differently. So this is a little bit of what we talked about earlier about the psychology of gamification. We've all been here, sitting around the dinner table or at the couch at night, and everyone's on their phones. I mean, you're triggering almost the same responses with gamification. You can help leverage that to gear towards someone to help them complete your course or get more out of your course, or a lot, like we said earlier, using these to trigger endorphins to help the learning experience have greater knowledge retention. And when you can help trigger these emotions, it's also going to generate a positive response. It's going to increase user engagement, and believe it or not, it's going to help increase user loyalty. So if someone has a great time going through your course, using your site, experiencing your learning style, they're going to talk about it. They're going to share those experiences. They might even share their achievements. So there's a couple options for gamification. There's GamePress, BadgeOS, MyCreds, and achievements for LearnDash. There's all these options are good, and I'm not saying either one is better than the other. What I will say is LearnDash has a really good foundation, and if you want to start with something simple, I would definitely start with the achievements for LearnDash, and then work into something bigger and better if you need it. Now, I'm not saying that LearnDash is bad. I think it's great. In fact, I don't really see a need to use anything else right now in the current learning experience with my users, because it's very lightweight, it's easy to set up, it does a lot of what we need, and they're going to be extending it in the future. So I think it fulfills most of the needs now. Some of the others are a little bit heavy. Today, we're going to be focusing on achievements with LearnDash. There's a couple comments. Let me read through the comments real fast. Bear with me. Someone asked, will the achievements crossover to Envision Community as well? I use both. I'm not sure what Envision Community is. I don't know what Envision Community is, and I would have to research it to let you know. I don't know how much crossover will really happen. It's a simple architecture. It really is. It could be extended. I don't see why it couldn't. Anything that would work with any other WordPress thing would be extendable. So you could probably leverage Zapier for sure. But there's probably hooks and things, but it doesn't work instantly right now. And this is also version 1. Cool. Let's keep going, and I'll be happy to answer some of these questions as we go. So leveraging gamification in your LearnDash course. That guy's happy. He just got a new achievement. Leveraging gamification in your LearnDash courses. You allow points or badges to be earned, which can be then used for something tangible. We're still talking about just general rules. This slide should have been up a little bit sooner. But like, if you were leveraging LearnDash, the LearnDash achievements, you could stack up points, and then internally at your company, you could use earned points for anything. So you could then give it a real world return system, sort of like a Chuck E. Cheese, if you will. So the more you earn, the more you could swap out for real tangible things at the office. Not only do you get that awards and achievements are shown off, just like Facebook does with their badges for community members, or people like conversation starters, or most responsive, or all those things like Facebook does, like it gives those little badges. You could also give those too. And then you get to showcase a leaderboard of everyone who has it. If you remember like mobile arcades, old arcade games, this is the leaderboard. You could do something like that with LearnDash. So let's talk about implementing our actual gamification plugin, the achievements, into your LearnDash site. So this is going to be a quick walkthrough, and then we'll actually do all this. So if I also recommend always testing anything new in a staging environment. Make sure that everything works before you push to live to production, and always make sure you have active backups. I like to do a backup before I start and a backup after I start, even if everything works fine. There's 2 ways of getting the plugin. You can go directly to your LearnDash site, go to add-ons, and grab it from the add-ons menu if you have an active install. But if you're in something that has like get access locked down, like a server like Pantheon, you're going to have to use get in some type of deploy system. So SFTP would not work, or upload through the system would not work. So you would have to use your normal system that way, but that would be your setup. So you go to the add-ons menu. You would Click install now. If you do not see the LearnDash achievements, there's an update button on the top right. You would click that, refresh, and then it'll show up. Once that's installed, you'll see a new menu called Achievements underneath the LearnDash menu. Next, we're going to talk about how you can actually add your achievements. So you go to the Achievements menu, and you can click Add New. There's 2 Add New buttons. They both do the same thing. Don't let them confuse you. There's a Settings button. We'll go over that in a moment, and a Shortcuts button. We'll go over that towards the end. This is your settings. Right now, you could set the pop-up timer. All these question marks actually say what I'm about to say. So if you click any of these question marks, it's going to show you instructions. The 0, if you leave the pop-up timer for 0, it stays there until you click it. If you add any number, it's number in seconds. So if you add it like 3, it's going to stay there for 3 seconds. This is the background color, the text color, in right to left versus left to right. This is where it shows up on your screen, top left or top right. Dave from the group, who has the LearnDash style plugin, he also added all the features needed to style the pop-up too. So in order to extend more of these settings, Dave's plugin already does that. So if you're already a user of his plugin, you would be able to get those updates for free, I believe. Click on Add New. This is your actual achievement. You have the achievement name. This is the name of the achievement that shows up, the alt text, the title of the pop-up. And then this is the actual message. This is the message that shows up in the pop-up, and it's going to show all the text. So if this is very long, it'll be long. If it's short, it'll be short. You can also make links. So you'll see what I did later is I actually set a welcome message on a registration pop-up. And if you weren't using the dashboard page, you could say, this is your dashboard. Welcome to my courses. You need to select an image for your achievement. Every achievement needs an image. You can use one of the predefined images, or you can upload your own. Once you upload your own, it will be sized accordingly. And this is the actual detailed triggers. So the main one is the main type of trigger. And then the additional drop downs are going to change or hide or show themselves based off of the first menu. And we'll just go over these in the live demo. You can award points. And this is how many points you get every time this achievement is awarded. And this is the occasions. You can set it to 0 to be unlimited, or you can set it to a number to show how many times it can occur. You can earn this achievement twice or 1 time, or you can earn it unlimited times. These are the achievement triggers, and we'll go over these a little bit more in detail when we get to the live demo, because I would like to show the corresponding drop downs. But you have basic WordPress triggers, which would be registration, login, adding a post, adding a comment, viewing a post, user post gets visits. Now, these first WordPress triggers do not have a secondary option right now. So they are single level conditions only. One that I asked the team to add would be filling out your profile, or some type of way to show that a user has completed their profile, because I think using gamification to encourage users to fill out their actual full names and information will help the uniqueness or personalization of the experience. And if you have all their information, it's going to make awarding certificates at the end really nice versus a blank certificate with no name or just an email address. So I would love for the team to add the ability to get someone to an encouragement to fill out their actual full profile. There's so many ways to do your profile, so I don't know how far that'll go. I did make that request for the team. And then all the actual LearnDash triggers on user enrollment into a group, enrollment into a course, completing a course, completing a lesson, completing a topic, passing a quiz, failing a quiz, completing a quiz, uploading an assignment is approved, essay question has been graded. And this is what it looks like once you actually add the achievement. So once you hit save and you go back to the achievement list, you can see what it looks like in the admin. And this is what a default achievement looks like without changing any settings. So next we're going to talk about extending the user profile. So earlier you could see this screen here, shortcodes. You can see the shortcodes tab. It's going to include what I'm about to talk about. If you're using the block builder, LearnDash also created a couple blocks, so you don't have to use the shortcodes. You can use new blocks. So if you use your block builder, you search for achievements. If you have it installed, you're going to get these 2 new blocks we're talking about. If you're using Elementor or anything else, you can use the shortcodes. You could also use the shortcodes with Gutenberg if you'd like. So the first one is going to showcase your achievements. And what it does is it just shows the icons, lists the icons. The achievements, my achievements, that's a title I added. And then you have the ability to have the leaderboard. Now, one thing I will say is the leaderboard is really cool. It's going to show the leaders. You could show as many as you would like with a number here. I would recommend to be very careful how you use this, though. I'm not a lawyer, but this is other members that you'd be showcasing at that point. So I'd make sure your terms of service or privacy policy stated that. Also, depending on how you're going to be showing this, I would probably recommend showing this to logged in users only at first, or it's up to your users. You are only showing the top 10. And I think if they're participating and it's part of your terms of use, then it should be fine. So let's go have a demo. This is my test site. So everything that we're going to be looking at is in my test environment, and there's a lot of plugins installed. It's a multi-site. So if anything isn't necessarily 100%, it is not the achievement's fault. It's my fault, and it is other plugins that I have. We'll start from here. So you would go ahead and go to your plugins, and you would click if you downloaded it. If you downloaded it from this LearnDash site, you would go to plugins, and you have an upload button here. I'm on a multi-site, so I don't have that. If you're an active LearnDash user, you have an add-ons menu. Again, I would make sure that you're testing this in a test environment first. And I would, if you don't see the LearnDash achievements, you're going to see a check for update. So you click the check for update button. Any updates will show up. As you can see, I got to update the certification builder. And then you click update, or you would click add and then activate. So that's going to add it. Once it's added, you have your new achievements menu here. And then you have, let's go over the tabs real fast. Zoom in a little bit so everyone can see. I'm on a larger monitor. As you can see, I uploaded my own image here. You have the add new button to add a new one. Just like all other LearnDash elements, we have our settings tab and more information tabs here, just like the other LearnDash links. You can come here and change the color, background color. Let's go ahead and change these to the default. Hit save. I told it to stay for 5 seconds. Let's change that down to 2 seconds for now. And these are site-wide achievement settings. And here are the shortcodes we talked about earlier. And like I said, there's also blocks. I'll show you everyone how to use the blocks shortly. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a new achievement. We're going to click add new. Okay, this is your title. We'll just fill this out real fast. This is the description of the pop-up. This is the info that shows in the pop-up. All achievements need an image. So you would hit select image and pick one from the LearnDash library, or you can upload your own and pick one of the achievements from the menu. From your media library. And then you can set the trigger. You have the WordPress triggers we talked about, and then we have the LearnDash triggers themselves. So we can say enroll into a group. When we select group, a new group dropdown shows up. So it's any groups, or it lists the individual groups. Let's go through all of these just so we can show everyone. Select a course. It's going to show all courses or an individual course. Complete a course. So this is completing any of these courses. It's the same as the other, but the first one is enrolling. This is completing. This is completing a lesson. So now we can say any lesson or so we can say all courses, or we can say individual course. If we say all courses, It should also load all lessons too. Same thing with topics. It's just nice because everything is completely dynamic. You can drill down and they'll be limiting. So each option will limit the next one that shows up, or you can choose the all option, which makes the triggers work on everything. Your points value, that's up to you and how you want to manage your points. I would probably recommend thinking about the point system and use them accordingly for everything. Anything that's really simple or easy to get, I would keep a really low point value. Anything that's very difficult, I would add a higher point value. Make it worth the earning it takes to get that harder achievement. Let's keep looking. We got quizzes themselves. Same thing with all the quizzes. All these are going to be dynamic based off the previous selection. In case you failed a quiz, and this is earlier too, you can really get specific. And I really like this feature. If you are using the achievements tool as encouragement or supporting collateral for courses and quizzes, so when you say someone failed a course or someone failed a quiz inside a course, or they failed a certain lesson, you can get really specific with supporting content. So you could say, oh, you failed our topic on effective writing. Well, I recommend you check out lesson 1, 2, and 5. I also recommend these 2 blog posts, and you can list that in the pop-up as a hint, as a guide, like on what to do. And I think it could be a really nice tailored learning experience to help someone do better. We are also talking about the idea of using the failed achievements as affirmations, as ways to encourage your users when they're having a hard time or not quite getting something. So I think it can be a pretty powerful feature if used correctly. Completing the quiz is all the same. Upload an assignment, and that's just any uploading assignment. And then assignment is approved. So once the teacher approves it, they would get the points. The same thing with once a graded question. They don't have any other conditions. It's just whenever it's and that works. You also can tailor the slug if you needed to. This is the URL tied to that achievement. It's not really used currently, but you could. So let's say, how are we going to trigger this one? Let's trigger this one on login. And we're going to give it 1 point. It's just going to be type of achievement. You logged in. So let's go ahead and test this out. Also, I have another one already set up. So let's go back and take a look at the actual courses here. I have one set up for new registration just to show everyone what it looks like, and it's a little bit easier to test. Okay, a couple of things too. Okay, we'll start with this first. I wanted to show everyone the shortcuts. We'll come back to that. So this is just the pop-up page. I have registration turned to be really simple. This is just a simple registration. It's just an email. I click register. And we have this pop-up show up. This is the other pop-up right here. This is a user registration WordPress. And then this is one of the pop-ups, one of the shortcodes I was talking about earlier for the My Achievements. This is the profile. It shows up here now, and it shows the title of the actual achievement when you hover over it. We also have a leaderboard down here. I'm also showing more of the, I was playing with the blocks. Like, this placement is my fault. It's not a bug. It's just, I just stacked the blocks without adding a spacer. but this is the leaderboard as well. So adding the blocker shortcode, you can see everyone who's added or logged in. Let's log out of this. Let's change the style so everyone can see what it looks like. The styles tab is here. Remember, the styles are global. So this time I want the pop-up to show up on the left side, not the right side. I want the background to be purple, and I want the text to be green. Now, I probably wouldn't recommend this, but yeah, just for demonstration purposes. I'm also going to set the pop-up timer to 0. So the global pop-up timer is 0. I hit save. Come over here. Quickly create a new account. And now our pop-up shows up on the left side. It's purple and green. And it's going to stay there until I actually click it. And the nice thing is it also supports links. So in case you had a different page for your logged in page and you wanted to say, oh, this is how you get to your accounts, you can click my dashboard, it would go away. It would take them to the My Accounts page. So that is pretty much it. So let's take a quick look at the other triggers. I do have one set up on courses here. Let me zoom out just a little bit. If I take this course, I hit mark complete. I should also get a pop-up. That is from, let's review that one. Actually, let's change the settings back. It's a little bit hard to see. Let's go pop-up color background. Let's go black text, background color, really light yellow. Just to see. Let's save. Cool. And what we're playing with is the trigger is lesson complete. Let's see what happens and how long we can make that copy and what it looks like. This is just demo purposes. I would not recommend this, but let's see what happens. Cool. So let's go back. Let's start this course. Mark complete. And now we have the larger example. Someone has a question. Let me get back to my presentation too. Here's the resources from the content we talked about earlier. Someone asked, after registering new user, it cannot show gamification rewards. I already created an achievement. I'm using login sign up pop-up. I mean, that's what I was just doing. I mean, this screen, these all the pop-ups I was doing on the My Account page where I typed in the email address and it showed up before. Everything I was just doing was new user registration. So now there might be a problem, and so what's probably happening, Hamza, is the new registration probably has to be active. So by default, LearnDash sends an activation link to make sure the account is active. So more than likely the activation link hasn't been clicked. Why it's working for me is I have a plugin installed. Let's go look. I have a plugin installed that bypasses the registration, it bypasses the need to click the registration link. Auto login new user after registration. This is the plugin that's used on the demo site as well to add extra fields to the login sign up of LearnDash. Auto login new user after registration. I would check out that plugin and then try the achievements for registration again, because that should work. That's what I was just doing. New user registration, the one with the little ID badge. So far, the system's awarded it 6 times. If there's an issue though, and it's not working, I would also recommend opening a support ticket, and we can look into that issue as well. And let us know if there's any other questions you have. We have a couple minutes. What I will say is my thoughts. I like gamification if it's used wisely. I don't want the pop-ups to get in the way. I think you can use gamification for encouragement, helping someone when they're down, keeping someone coming back to your site, encouraging community. I really like the idea of that tangible leadership board of being able to say that I have the most in something, especially in a course that has a limited access versus like a video game where infinite people could be involved. So you could potentially game to the top of that. So I don't know. That's a fun, powerful thing for a user. I think it's a definitely a useful thing. And what do you have to lose? It's a free add-on for LearnDash based off the research that most people who like gamification instantly gain a 30% increase in traffic on a site and 2 to 4% increase in profit. So as you can see, we went through several setups, added a couple, went through the demo, talked about it, spent a little bit of time back and forth. And it doesn't take that much to set up. So I would recommend it for the possible chance to increase your revenue 2 to 4% for a couple hours worth of work. Why not? So I definitely appreciate everyone's time today. If you don't have any questions, we can wrap up early. We did say the presentation was going to be 45 minutes, and right now we are at the 45-minute mark. I don't necessarily see any more questions. Just so everyone knows, this presentation will be shared once it's edited down and added back to the our YouTube channel. My slides and presentation notes will also be included. These presentations are brought to you by LearnDash for our users. They are pulled from the Facebook group. If you would like a topic covered, please reach out to us and tag me, add a note in one of the previous webinars, and we'll be happy to add it to our list.